Chapter 1470, Intention to Trade. Translator, Atlas Studios. Editor, Atlas Studios. Even though Heaven's will wants to get rid of me, the otherworldly demon, and raise the strength of the heavenly tribulation to its limit, it could do nothing against me. This tribulation was not hard for Fang Yuan. He had prepared amply for this tribulation and had a lot of trump cards left unused. Ying Wuxi and the rest were watching Fang Yuan's solo show and ended up being useless. They were in shock and amazement toward the sovereign immortal aperture. Rank 7. Gu immortals had to go through 24 earthly calamities, 3 heavenly tribulations, and 3 grand tribulations. Fang Yan patiently waited for the 5 poisonous beasts to reach their peak before dealing with them. He wanted to probe the limit of the heavenly tribulation's power. A rank 7 heavenly tribulation no longer had any threat towards him. Earthly calamities were even weaker. Only grand tribulations were an uncertainty. As for how strong grand tribulations could become, Fang Yan did not know. He had not gone through it once. His rank 7 cultivation level was obtained by annexing apertures. He seized their cultivation level. This was the first time he was going through a rank 7 heavenly tribulation. Afterwards, Fang Yuan used perceivable Dao Immortal Gu to deduce that he obtained 1,000 poison path Dao marks from this heavenly tribulation. From now on, whenever Fang Yuan used poison path Immortal Gu, he would gain 100% amplification. Heavenly tribulations on average gave about 750 Dao marks. Fang Yuan obtained 1,000. It was because Heaven's will had raised its power to the limit. But these gains were not what he needed now. Firstly, he did not have poison path resources to nurture. His poison path attainment level was very low. He only had 1 poison path, Immortal Gu, Woman's Heart. Evidently, Heaven's will had purposely chosen poison path to slow down Fang Yuan's growth. The next time I undergo heavenly tribulation, Heaven's will might reduce the power of the heavenly tribulation to its limit. Fang Yuan could guess this without thinking. This heavenly tribulation made Heaven's will realize that it could do nothing to Fang Yuan. It would no longer raise its power to the limit. After all, that would only give him more Dao marks. Other than making him stronger, there was no point in doing it. This means that my Dao mark gains will be very low when I pass tribulations in the future. Annexing apertures is the proper way to advance now. Fang Yuan understood. Annexing apertures was the advantage of the sovereign immortal aperture. It would be definitely used in the future. But now that he lacked the upper extreme heavenly eagle, and due to Fang Yuan cultivating in seclusion, he had no opportunities for that. The river of time flowed endlessly. Time passed rapidly. A month had gone by. During this period, Fang Yuan went through an earthly calamity. As he expected, the gain in Dao marks was very few. But in other aspects, Fang Yuan's improvements were huge. His gains were enormous. In terms of soul path, his soul foundation reached 50 million man soul. His soul was so condensed that it was already showing signs of turning solid. And most importantly, his immortal killer movie Ghost Official Garment was getting thicker. It was shielding Fang Yuan with even greater strength now. Over on Heilu Lanzhen, she had already refined the star. Fang Yuan tried to use Star Eye's Immortal Gu. The investigative effect was great. With this Immortal Gu, his investigative aspect was greatly supplemented. In terms of immortal aperture management, the basic development was already completed. He expended almost all of his Immortal Essence Stone storage and the 3 gifts from the snowmen. In the end, he even borrowed some resources from Langya sect to complete his foundations. But now, even though Fang Yuan had not fed them yet, the foundation was already set. It was like having dishes on the table even before eating, while the rice was still cooking in the pot. As long as he continued to develop, he would gain success in the future. There were 7 levels of immortal aperture development. The first level was to create mortal resource points. The second level was to have immortal material resources to feed immortal gunpowder. The third level was to raise and produce immortal beasts and plants, completing the ecosystem. The fourth level was to produce resources for external trade and profits. Fang Yuan had crossed into the 4th level earlier, but he still had 1 foot in the 2nd level. Now that the 2nd level was done, Fang Yuan's other foot stepped into the third level. The third level was to raise and produce immortal beasts and plants, completing the ecosystem. This level's criteria was, these immortal beasts and plants had to perfectly assimilate into the immortal aperture's ecosystem. They had to form a food chain with the living beings within. Fang Yuan had done this in the past, but now it was lacking. Because his two biggest groups of beasts, the eagle group and the year beast group, did not perfectly assimilate into the immortal aperture. The eagles needed to hunt for food on their own, but currently Fang Yuan was purchasing the food from Langya sect and Treasure Yellow Heaven. Year beast consumed year gu as food. Fang Yuan produced it himself. Rank 8, immortal gu years flow like water played a huge part in this. Without it, Fang Yuan could not raise such a huge population of year beasts. The third level's development needs to wait. Fang Yuan wanted to continue, but he had to stock. He did not have enough funds now to develop his immortal aperture. He needed to work on the fourth level and increase his trading capabilities. Right now, Fang Yuan had 9 sources of revenue. The first was Guts Gu. It was a monopoly with huge potential, but he had to invest a lot into it and split the revenue with Langya sect. Right now, Fang Yuan's Guts Gu were all used to cultivate his soul path. His profits were 0 at the moment. No, next was Yeargu, for Fang Yuan has not taken over the market for Yeargu yet, and because of his actions earlier, the revenue of Yeargu would be horrible for the next couple of years. But undeniably, the market for Yeargu was huge in potential because Fang Yuan possessed rank 8 immortal gu years flow like water. This immortal gu was created by the Northern Plains Time Path great expert He Fan. It was a top-tier immortal gu among rank 8s. Not only was it easy to use, owning it meant that one had a steady supply of year gu at a low cost. But it had weaknesses too. It would attract immemorial year beasts to wreak havoc in the immortal aperture. After He Fan created years flow like water immortal gu, he tried to solve the problem. But unfortunately, due to his limitations as a time path great expert, he was not as skilled in other aspects. He was also lacking in fortuitous encounters. If he had the 180 slaves killer move like Fang Yuan, he would have solved the problem. And thirdly, his lifespan was limited. He had already started solving the problem using the immemorial year beast fishing formation as the flood discharge formation, but his lifespan was used up before they could be used. Thus, years flow like water, immortal gu could not shine in its creator's hands. When it went into Fang Yuan's hands, its amazing effect was finally used. Fang Yuan also sighed when he thought of this. This was truly the twists and turns of life. After Year Gu were the dragonfish and regretful spider resource points. They were in the sovereign immortal aperture's dragon scale sea area and coiling thread cave. Back then, in southern border, Fang Yuan had thought of using Wu clan's strength to develop them. It was a huge effort. But now the dragonfish business was heavily affected because the secret of Fang Yuan disguising as Wu Yihai was exposed, and his dragonfish business was done through Wu clan's network. His main targets were the righteous path forces of southern border. This business was naturally stopped after he got exposed. Thus, regretful spiders became Fang Yuan's biggest source of revenue now. The main buyers were Western Desert's Xiao clan. Their relationship was getting firmer. After the dragonfish and regretful spider were eerie fire dragon python, a series of star path resources, star dart goo, star fragment grass and more, spirit snakes, snow monsters, and light shine fungi. The eerie fire dragon python business had started when Fang Yuan obtained some in Imperial Court blessed land. Afterwards, he used He tribe's unique raising method to develop them to this scale. The production was not big nor small. It was inferior to the dragonfish and regretful spiders. His star path resources were inherited from Star-Lord Wanxiang. He did not focus on them at all. The reason was simple. They were getting less important because most of his resources were larger in scale, and this was obtained from a rank 6 Gu Immortal. Its initial scale was not big either. The spirit snakes were about the same as the star path resources. They came from Handong Blessed Land, which was annexed by Fang Yuan. He did not develop it purposely. Finally, the snow monsters and light shine fungus were future projects. The former used the ice path crystal essence to modify many Northern Plains' environment, while the latter had great importance now and could not be sold. In conclusion, Fang Yan's business situation was not promising. Guts Goo had no profits, Dragonfish was heavily affected and earning little. Even though regretful spiders were the same as before, it could not hold up his situation alone. The remaining Eerie Fire Dragon pythons, Star Path resources, and Spirit Snakes were important to rank 6 Goo Immortals, but for Fang Yuan they were too small in scale. These three and the regretful spider business barely managed to help Fang Yuan maintain his finances. And finally, for the snow monsters and light-shine fungi businesses, the former still needed more investment, while the latter needed to expand in size first. The profits from Yergu earlier had been depleted. In this situation, Fang Yuan needed to promote his other businesses urgently. He had a lot of resources. Even though he completed the basic development, the Immortal Aperture's development only went from 3% to 4%. But be it the Immortal Aperture's development, modifying of killer moves, or soul path cultivation, he needed to invest even more resources into them. To improve further or increase his earnings, he needed to put in capital. The more he put in, the faster his growth. And for Fang Yuan, he had a vast number of inheritances. He had countless ways to farm resources. He even had many unique techniques. There were too many choices. And among them, which was the most suitable and helpful choice? Fang Yuan fell into deep contemplation.